Support WrestleTalk!
Welcome to the WrestleTalk Podcast channel. I am Luke Owen, DAD, and today I'm joined by Claudio Castagnoli. How are you
Not
today, sir?
DAD.
No? Oh,
What's
you're going to leave me hanging for a second.
No, I would never, but I had to do the DAD. What is the DAD still?
Because I'm a dad now. So like when I announced
Congrats.
thank you very much.
Yeah.
When I announced I was a dad a couple of years ago, and I was like, oh, like Brett Baker, DMD, you could be DAD.
That's
it's sort of
brilliant.
stuck with me.
I like it, DAD.
How are you today?
I'm well, how are you doing?
Yes, very,
I like
very
your
good.
haircut, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. I thought we're matching today.
You know.
I did it this morning. My clippers ran out, so there's a patch at the back that's not quite finished. Because I was in the shower and I was like, uh-oh, that's now run out.
I know that it's like you clip or you know, and then like you leave the house and then you look in the mirror and you're just like, there's like one hair.
Yeah.
And then you think everybody sees it, but nobody does.
Well, that's it. There's a little tuft here that I spotted this morning when I was looking in the mirror. I was like, oh no, I missed a small bit.
Yeah, but luckily hair grows so fast. I don't know how it is for you.
Before I get into, because we want to talk about All In, tickets
Yes.
going on sale for All In 2024.
Friday.
Friday.
When is this air?
This is likely going out
Okay,
tomorrow.
Friday. Okay, it's going to air Friday in your region.
Tickets on sale now,
Tickets on sale.
or in 2 days' time.
Yeah.
But before we got down here, my cameraman, Adam Whitney, said, I don't know a lot about Claudio, but the one thing I imagine about him is he's the nicest smelling wrestler you'll ever meet. Do you think that's true?
Well, I was going to say, like, you can come and try with me. I feel like that may be a little bit on the creepy side. So, so if that's the aura I give off, I think that's a good...
That's a good aura?
I think it's a good aura. I can live with that. Maybe I should come out with what is it called? The eau de toilette? Something like that, right?
Done by Claudio.
Yeah. And then I can have like the commercial of like me diving from like super high into the ocean.
That's right, just swinging a big bottle of cologne.
There we go. That would be great, right?
AEW, call me. Like, I've got great ideas for branding and merchandise. All in 2024.
Yes.
But first we do that, let's reflect on 2023.
Yeah.
Biggest events, most tickets sold for an event. You were there. Like, how was it in the building on that day?
I mean, it was crazy. I mean, even we were here the day before, kind of looking at everything. You were like, I'm in Wembley. Like, at least that was me, you know. It was and you could just feel the buzz in the air. And then, of course, they played, like they always play like sound check music, and it's like, yep, they're playing Queen. I'm at Wembley. So it's just, it's stuff like that. That's just like really cool. And then I was just talking about it as well. Like you see all the historic pictures of like all the stuff that happened here, all the concerts, all the football game, the rugby games, like everything. And it's just, it goes back so many years. It's so cool. And then having that crazy match.
Yeah.
Being able to fight in the royal box on the royal seats, I was like, so we can use the royal box. Who would like to? And I'm like,
straight in there.
I'll take that one. And it was really cool, And what was fun too, we got to use a bunch of extras or English talent, that was in the bar and stuff. So it was like, to me that was also fun because, giving back a bit, like they were all pumped, and if that would have been me, I would have been pumped as well. So it was just like a really cool moment. And of course, then when you're down out there, and we have the coolest entrance in wrestling, right? The Mox entrance, which, by the way, when we were getting ready for it, I just like looked over and was like, "There's the Wembley goalposts." So I was just like, everybody was like warming up, and I just run over and I just saw like one of our security guards. I'm like, come over here. Like I took a picture with the goalpost while we were getting ready. And then we get swarmed by, I don't know however many people are on the ground. And then fighting in the royal seats, you can just overlook everything. And it's just mayhem. Like I just look down and it's just mayhem and everybody's going crazy and you see all the fans and everything. And that was just like, it was really special. It was awesome.
Like a bar has been set. From All In 2023. I didn't even think of that, but you're right. So the bar has been set. Looking ahead to 2024, like, what do you think that AEW needs to do? What do you think you need to do? What do you think the company needs to do in order to like hit those highs again?
I mean, I think they already announced they're gonna have like a bigger set next time. So I feel like that always adds to the grandeur.
Yeah.
What a great word, the grandeur of the event. And I feel like that was the first stadium event that AEW did. And AEW is still a very young company, so I feel like you just learn so much from an event like that, and then you're just gonna grow and you're gonna get bigger and better. And I'm very excited to see what AEW is gonna have in store for all of us. From a talent perspective, I just know that everybody wanted to be on that show and everybody was like super pumped, and that's what's going to happen again this year. So like whatever is going to be on the show, it's going to be fun and awesome.
Well, on that note then, I'm going to picture the scene.
Okay.
Tony Khan walks up to you and says, Claudio, I need you to be booker for tonight. I need you to book. What is the main event of All In 2024?
Oh man. See, I feel like a lot depends on what's happening in the last 3-4 months before that. So to think of that now, in my mind, would be too early, because I'm a firm believer of like, you need to have an idea, but then you need to listen to like the crowd and who is hot and who's ready and what's going to happen. And like you've seen it recently in wrestling, like always something will happen. Somebody will get hurt, you know what I mean? Something will happen, and then so you need to react. So to do it that early in advance, I think will be very hard, but it definitely should be the AEW World Championship.
Yeah, always going to be the world title picture.
The world title, yeah. Or the Triple Crown, whatever.
From the C2, right?
From the C2, yeah.
Which you're going to win?
Bingo.
Didn't want to ask you about this.
So what I'm getting at is, yeah, you do the math.
Do want to ask you about the C2. Like, how was it pitched to you? Like, were you excited to be part of it? I mean, you were saying to me earlier that like you love just the name.
Yeah, I mean, the name is great. I think, the Continental Classic, and then I think the fans came up with C2, and I thought that was brilliant. It's also a starship on one of my favorite video games, so it just goes hand in hand. I always thought tournaments were really cool. When I was growing up, I think one of my favorite pay-per-views was the King of the Ring, and then, the G1 is something that I still want to do in my career, and then this is kind of the AEW version of the G1, so to be part of it, I was like, hey, hell yeah. So
yeah, and you got like Danielson's in there as well, and Moxie, and you got all of the crew together outside of Utah. So
well, Utah's kind of
he's a bit
busy right now.
Yeah, he's slightly busy.
And then he's the pure champion right now. So
But how are you going to be when you're in the ring with Danielson, like having to get into the finals with Marks?
I mean, if you think back, and that's this Blackpool Comic Club, we don't really care, even if you fight each other, because we just want to get better. And I feel like that's the highest level of competition, and to be in the ring with Brian or Marks is always a challenge. So I'm actually very much looking forward to it.
And obviously you're a storied rival with Eddie as well. And he's in the same bracket as you.
Yes, he sure is. Yeah, he always finds a way to worm back into my path somehow.
Well, because I interviewed Eddie a couple of years back.
Yeah.
And he was, he's straight shooter, and he was like, don't like this guy, don't like this guy, don't like this guy, don't like this guy. But you've now had like the Ring of Honor, like championship stuff. Like, how are things between you and Eddie these days?
Eddie's gonna Eddie.
Eddie's gonna
Eddie. Let's put it that way.
We've got new faces in the company as well. Will Ospreay signed as well. That's big for us as well as British wrestling fans. I've watched Will's career for many, many years now. Like, how exciting is it having him within All Elite Wrestling?
I mean, I think it's great for him. I think it's great for European wrestling, like you said, in general, to have another representative on that level on television. For a global audience, because I think it will just grow. Wrestling in the UK, wrestling in Europe in general, and I think it will connect with a new audience. So I think it's great, and it's cool to see people kind of choosing their own path, and being able to do that. And that's the same with having All In this year and next year in England. Like when I was growing up, there was no such big wrestling events. Like if you wanted to go to something like that, you had to go to the United States, and it's just became increasingly more difficult with visas and everything. So to have an event like a stadium event in Europe, and it's like, oh yeah, I'll just take a train or drive or whatever. You know what I mean? Like take a 1 hour plane ride. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think it's great. And then it's good for Will, good for AEW.
Well, we were talking about this recently because, some other events been announced for.
It shows you where there's a will. There's a way.
Some events been announced for Paris and Berlin and stuff. And some of our American viewers were just like, well, that's a whole different country. I was like, it's an hour's train ride to get to France and stuff. It's down the road.
Yeah. I think it's the same with, you have to explain to Americans why Wembley is, it's Wembley, right? To Europeans, you don't have to explain it. It's Wembley. But also, in America, right, distances are bigger distances are bigger and everything, but they don't understand, like, you can just wait till a show comes to your town, right? You don't have to drive 2 or 3 hours. Some people do still, they drive 2 or 3 hours. But here it's like, no, when you get an event like that, like, that's huge because you can just, like Berlin or Paris, like you say, that's an hour flight. That's not that far. Like, that's a weekend trip. That's something fun. That's easy to do. So I think it's big for Europe, and I think it's really good.
Why do you think like Europe has grown so much as as a destination for North American wrestling over the last couple of years?
I think it's become more popular, and I think more accessible thanks to like obviously TV rights and stuff like that, and also thanks to streaming. You know, so like people can follow it more easy, and it's always, you want to go and bring an event somewhere where there's already a fan base, and you can now track that with like streaming services and all that kind of stuff. So that definitely helps, and then it also helps that I think thanks to like the advancement in technology, that you can actually now easily bring pay-per-views and stuff to different countries without like having to transport everything that you need. Like, you know what I mean? Like not that it doesn't exist in Europe, but like people kind of, you know, there's certain things that they're used to, that they need, whatever, and it's like now it's like, oh no, it's easier for us to do pay-per-views and shows in different countries. And also I think the fact that people get used to like the time changes, like okay, you know, it doesn't have to be Saturday night at 8 o'clock. No, it can be at Saturday afternoon or whatever. So I think everything going more global in general helped.
Speaking of like the business side of things and your history with wrestlers as well, Chris Hero is back wrestling again. He had a match recently. Are you still in touch with Chris? Like, could we ever see a reunion of you two together?
Chris works as a producer for
AEW
as well.
Because I heard he came in, but then there hasn't been much sort of said about him afterwards. I wasn't still sure if he was still doing like backstage stuff. Oh, he is.
Still doing
oh,
it.
great.
Yeah.
Can we see him in the ring in AEW then? A reunion for you two?
I mean, you know, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Would you like it though, or are you trying to look for like some new things rather than sort of relying on like some your past glories?
I mean, to me, I'm always kind of looking forward on what's new and like trying to focus on whatever's in the moment. Like right now, like C2 and and the Blackpool Combat Club, which is BC2 as well, technically. You know, that's my main focus. But you know, you never know.
Because there's been some like talk and stuff of like, I don't like the moniker of the ex-WWE guy. Because I feel like when you come into a new company, like that's your new home. You're now an AEW guy. You're a Ring of Honor guy.
Yeah.
What do you make of that sort of ex-WWE mentality?
So it's kind of before AEW, right? Like if you wanted to make it, so to speak, or like work on a more consistent basis or just all the time, like that was the goal, WWE or maybe New Japan if you want to do the tours and stuff. So before AEW, if you wanted to do this full time as a viable job, you can do indies towards the end, or you became a WWE guy. But that doesn't mean that kind of like that's where you know, like learned your business and everything, and that's a good thing. I mean, I had over 1,000 matches in WWE. I had over 200 matches most of my years there. Which means I got to learn. I got to be in the ring with people who are better than me. I got to learn from the greats. You know, I would not want to give that time back for anything. You know, that's where I, you know, what do you call it, cut my teeth. You know, so to me, if you want to look at it in football, if you go through, I don't know, Manchester Academy, and then you start playing for Fulham, you're going to be the ex-Manchester guy. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's kind of like, no, like you're going to go to the new team, and then like that's who you are. You're not just going to be like, oh, why is this ex-Barcelona player on my team? You know, it's just like, no, you just, that's what you do to get better. That's where you go. Yeah. Like, and I feel there's a lot of this, you know, like, and it was the same on the independents to a certain degree, where it's like, oh, if you work for us, you can't work for them, kind of thing. Now it's more official, right? If you work for one, you can't work for the other. But as a fan, I would think it's great, right? Because you can just choose. But you don't have to, like, because I like this one doesn't mean I have to hate the other. I feel like that's maybe a more modern thing, where it's like, if you disagree, then it's just like, no, I don't talk to him anymore. Instead of like, oh no, like you can have friends that you disagree with. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just like, he likes this, like, he likes chocolate, I like vanilla. Who cares? You know what I mean? So I feel like for the fans, it's even better. But that whole moniker of like, oh, X this guy, X that guy. I mean, like, the longer two companies exist, the more crossover there will be. I mean, just naturally from. Yeah. So to me, it's more of a, like, where what do you want to do, who are you, and what do you represent? And to me, I was always about wrestling.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at it.
And it's exciting for us as fans as well. Obviously, you're a fan of pro wrestling, otherwise you wouldn't be doing this. You know, it's like you've come across, and Danielson's come across, and Adam Copeland has come across, but like, Jade's gone across to WWE, and Punk's gone back to WWE, and like and Jay White's come across from New Japan. Like it's as fans, it's a very, very exciting time. Like as talents, like how do you sort of feel about, you know, like Punk being back in WWE and like Copeland coming across?
I mean, so to your point, it used to always be like, it was like fantasy booking, right? You were like, oh, what if Bryan Danielson would wrestle Zack Sabre Jr., right? Because that's New Japan and that's AEW, and then like Forbidden Door happened, and it's all of a sudden it's like, this can really happen, you know? Like there's Okada and Adam Cole, and like what? Then, you know, so it's like, now this can actually happen. So I think for the fans, it's a very exciting time. And then like you said, like it's like people just move from company to company or move on or whatever. And it's great for the fans, and it's also great for the wrestlers because, you know, they can just kind of see what they need, what they feel, and it makes it also exciting because like you said, there's new people to work with, there's new people to be in the ring with, and I think at the end of the day, that's good business. You
obviously you were a figurehead of Ring of Honor for Tony Khan's Ring of Honor. What are your thoughts on Tony Khan's Ring of Honor thus far?
I think it was better when I was the champion. Current champion.
Eddie's gonna Eddie.
Don't want to mention any names. No, I give him credit. You know, like I said that before. Even if I don't really respect him, I give him credit. He's been a fighting champ, and you know he has a lot of passion for Ring of Honor because, you know, growing up, or like when you know the Ring of Honor he idolizes was like with Xavier and Homicide. Those were his idols, and he is trying to live up to that legacy. So that's good for him. It's still a great place for younger talent to show off what they got, like to prove themselves, and that's the fun for me. And it was even back when I was champ, when it was just the Orlando tapings, as we called them, where it was just like on the soundstage, which I kind of prefer because it had a different, distinct look to it. And I would like maybe in the future for Ring of Honor almost to go back to like its own look, which I feel helps. But even now, like the way it is, it's fun because you see different talent on Ring of Honor. You see new talent on Ring of Honor. You see talent from Ring of Honor kind of moving slowly towards Rampage and Dynamite, as you've seen with the Gates of Agony, for example, who are in New Japan currently. So I think it's a lot of fun for people who really love wrestling and kind of want to go deeper into like who's going to be the next big thing or who's going to pop up next. Or so it's kind of what Ring of Honor has always been, which is like a proving ground for people who want to step up and explore onto the scene.
Penultimate question before I let you go. We're talking about talent jump over, and is there any from your old home that you'd like to see come across? I mean, I don't want to say Sheamus, but like, is there any other anyone else?
I'm just kidding. I love Sheamus.
Because the last time I interviewed Sheamus, he was putting you over massively.
Yeah, no. I'm kidding. I love Sheamus, but this is literally just what we do. We just slack each other because that's what friends do, right? No, he's awesome. I mean, like any company that has him has a tremendous asset. I mean, he's just absolute workhorse. One of the hardest workers in and outside of the ring that I know. Just absolute maniac, and in the best sense of the word, So I think it's always like whatever is best for my friends, for them, you know what I mean? And it's also just fun to see what will happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, love Sheamus, yeah.
So final question, and to throw us home, to take us home.
Yeah.
Why should people be buying tickets for All In 2024?
I mean, it's All In 2024 at Wembley Stadium. I think that just sums it up. It's AEW All In. If you missed the first one, you can't miss the second one. And if you were at the first one, you already bought tickets, I know it. Because I always say, like, if you watch AEW, right, like watching it on TV is one thing, but seeing it live is a completely different one, If you haven't bought tickets yet, tickets go on sale this Friday.
Or today.
This Friday, or today, or next week. No, just kidding. This Friday they go on sale. So like you want to get your tickets now because then you just don't have to worry about it, right? I mean, you don't want to be like a month out and you're like, oh, I forgot to buy tickets. You don't want to be that guy, right? It's like Christmas Eve and you're like, I need to get gifts. Like, no, you want to get the tickets nice and early. It's the biggest wrestling event in Europe, and yeah, it's just there's nothing like it.
So what you're saying is the all-in tickets are a nice diamond ring present and not flowers bought from a garage forecourt.
Exactly. And you want to have that nice diamond ring present and you want to have it early. And it's a great gift too. So, you know, like for anybody who you don't know what to get for Christmas, it's the perfect Christmas present.
There you go. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much. I
Thank
appreciate
you very
it.
much.